Welcome back to the Microsoft AI Adoption Accelerator. This is Episode 2, the Microsoft Copilot Adoption Framework. In Episode 1, we made the case that AI adoption is fundamentally different from any software rollout you have ever led. We named the gap. 88% of the licenses you pay for never become habits. Today, we close that gap. I am going to walk you through the framework Microsoft itself uses with its largest customers, Envision, Onboard, Drive Value, and I will show you exactly where every step of ADKAR plugs in. By the end of this episode, you will have a 90-day playbook you can put in front of your sponsor on Monday morning. Let's get into it. Quick recap. In Episode 1, I called this the license trap. You buy the seats, you run the training, you declare victory at 90% activation, and 6 months later, only 12% of your people are getting real value. 88% of the spend evaporated. The reason that gap exists is not a tooling problem. It is an operating model problem. Most organizations treat Copilot rollout as a project, with a start date, an end date, and a closure report. The organizations that actually win treat it as an operating model, and that operating model has a name. It is the Microsoft Copilot Adoption Framework. The framework has 3 phases. Phase 1 is Envision. This is where you decide where Copilot is going to create real, measurable value in your business. Not in general, but for your sales team, your finance team, your teachers, your operations crew. Phase 2 is Onboard. This is where you get the right people using Copilot the right way, with the tenant configured, the champions trained, the prompts learned, and the comms drumbeat running. Phase 3 is Drive Value. This is where you turn use into outcomes, measure, refine, scale, and eventually evolve into agents. Envision, Onboard, Drive Value. 3 words. Memorize them. They are the spine of every successful Copilot program I have ever seen. Now, the most important thing I want you to take from this slide is this. It is a loop, not a line. Most rollouts treat adoption like a straight line. Envision once, onboard once, measure at the end. The organizations that turn Copilot into lasting value re-envision every quarter. They look at what worked, retire what did not, surface new scenarios, and feed those back into a fresh round of onboarding. AI is not a project you finish. It is an operating model you run. The companies that internalize that distinction are the ones still seeing value gains in year 3, while everyone else has quietly stopped talking about Copilot. Let's zoom into Phase 1, Envision. Envision is where most programs are won or lost, and it is also the phase most organizations skip in their rush to start training. 4 things have to happen here. First, you define a vision tied to outcomes. Not we will deploy Copilot, but we will give every seller 2 hours back per week, or we will cut lesson planning time by 40%. Second, you pick high-impact scenarios by job family: sales, finance, HR, education, operations. Generic demos do not stick. Role-specific scenarios do. Third, you form an executive sponsor coalition. Not one sponsor, a coalition. AI cuts across functions, so your sponsorship has to as well. And fourth, you build the business case and the success metrics that go with it. Hours saved, quality lifted, cycle time reduced. The ADKAR layer that maps to Envision is awareness plus trust. People cannot get behind a vision they have not heard, and they will not freely use AI they do not trust. Phase 2, Onboard. This is where most organizations think the work happens, but really, it is where the previous phases' decisions get executed. Again, 4 moves. 1. Configure the tenant, the data permissions, and the policies so Copilot is safe to use. Get this wrong and your security team will pull the plug in week 3. 2. Launch a champions network. 1 champion per 20 to 50 users, depending on size. We will dedicate Episode 5 entirely to champions because they are the single highest leverage move in this whole framework. 3. Run role-based training and prompt literacy. Not generic, here is Copilot 101, but here is how a finance analyst uses Copilot to close the books faster. 4. Activate the communications drumbeat. nudges, success stories, weekly tips, leaderboards if your culture allows. The ADKAR layer here is desire plus knowledge. Desire is fueled by curiosity and visible peer wins. Knowledge is fueled by relevant, role-anchored learning. Phase 3, drive value. This is the phase that decides whether your program produces a press release in year 1 and silence in year 2, or sustained outcomes for the long haul. 4 moves again. 1. Measure. The Microsoft Copilot dashboard inside Viva Insights gives you usage by application, by department, and by activity. Pair that with your business KPIs, hours saved, cycle time, quality scores. Episode 8 is dedicated to this. 2. Refine. Look at which scenarios are sticking and double down. Retire the ones that are not. Most organizations are afraid to retire scenarios. The best ones do it ruthlessly. 3. Scale. Take the patterns that are working in pilot teams and roll them into the next wave. And 4. Evolve into agents. Once your people are confident with personal AI, you start building organizational AI. Custom agents in Copilot Studio. Processes automated end-to-end. That is episode 10. The ADKAR layer here is ability plus reinforcement. Ability comes from daily reps. Reinforcement comes from making the value visible to the user and to their manager. Here is the picture I want you to keep on your wall. ADKAR X, the framework. ADKAR is the change spine. It is what change leaders have used for 2 decades. The Microsoft framework is the timeline. It is what tells you which ADKAR step you are working on and when. Awareness sits in Envision, paired with trust. Desire sits in Envision and early Onboard, paired with curiosity. Knowledge sits in Onboard, paired with prompt literacy. Ability sits in drive value, paired with habit formation. Reinforcement also sits in drive value, paired with value visibility. If you are an ADKAR practitioner, this is the bridge. You do not have to throw away your change framework. You map it onto the Microsoft phases, you add the AI layer, and you have a complete model that speaks to both the change office and the technology office. Let's make it concrete with a 90-day playbook. Days 0 to 30 are Envision. By day 30, your sponsor coalition is named, your top 3 to 5 scenarios are picked, your one-page vision is approved, and your baseline metrics are captured. Days 30 to 60 are Onboard. Champions identified and trained. Pilot users live. First wave of role-based prompt literacy workshops delivered. Comms drumbeat. Weekly tips, success stories, manager talking points, running. Days 60 to 90 are drive value. The Copilot dashboard is live. The first value stories are shared with leadership. The second wave of users is onboarded based on what worked in wave 1, and a written roadmap to scale to the rest of the organization is on the table. 90 days. That is the trajectory you need. If by day 90 you cannot show those milestones, you are not behind, you are off track. The framework is what keeps you on it. Now, who actually does the work? Adoption is a team sport, and 5 roles make it run. The executive sponsor names the destination and clears the air cover. The adoption lead runs the program day to day, owns the plan, the rhythm, the dashboard. The Champions Network is your human signal. They translate Copilot from feature to job in language their peers actually use. IT and security clear the path. Tenant, data, identity, policies, and business owners, your sales leader, your CFO, your head of teaching and learning, own the value. They are the ones who decide whether the scenarios are landing. If any of these 5 seats is empty, the framework wobbles. If all 5 are filled and aligned, the framework hums. Let me show you the 3 mistakes I see most often, 1 per phase, because if you avoid these, you are already ahead of most programs. Mistake 1, in Envision. We skipped the vision and started training. Result, no story, no sponsor air cover, training that nobody connects to outcomes. Mistake 2, in Onboard. We trained everyone the same way. Result, generic content that sticks to no one, low completion, lower retention. Mistake 3, in Drive Value. We measured licenses, not habits. Result: the 88% gap from episode 1 returns, and your sponsor loses faith. 3 sentences. Print them. Stick them on your monitor. If you can recite the antidote to each one in the language of your business, you are halfway home. Before we close, here are 5 questions you can use as a quick health check, a kind of stethoscope on your program. 1. Can your CEO state the AI vision in 1 sentence? If they cannot, you do not have a vision yet, you have a slide. 2. Can each role name their top 3 Copilot scenarios? If not, you have a tool, not a use case. 3. Are your champions reaching at least 1 in 20 employees? Below that ratio, the human signal does not carry. 4. Are weekly active users growing month over month? If they are flat or declining, the habit loop is broken. And 5. Are leaders telling value stories, not license stories? When the conversation in the executive room shifts from "we deployed X seats" to "Maria reclaimed 5 hours this week, you have arrived," if you can answer yes to 4 out of 5, the framework is working. 3 takeaways from today. 1. The framework is Envision, Onboard, Drive Value, and then Loop. It is not a project, it is an operating model. 2. ADKAR is the spine. The Microsoft framework is the timeline. Use them together and add the AI layer of trust, curiosity, prompt literacy, habit formation, and value visibility. 3. The first 90 days set the trajectory of the next 12 months. If you nail the 90-day playbook, the rest of the program compounds. If you skip it, no amount of effort later catches you up. Internalize those 3 points and you are ready for the next episode. Coming up in episode 3, Building Your AI Vision and Business Case. We are going to take phase 1, Envision, and turn it into a 1-page vision and a board-ready business case with the numbers that earn you sponsor commitment. Bring your scenarios. We will build the financial story together. If today's episode helped you see Copilot adoption as an operating model rather than a project, do me a favor. Subscribe, share it with your adoption team, and join the 10-week journey. See you in episode 3.